Hey Word Nerds, so I wanted to do something kind of fun and different for today's video, so I figured I would think about if I could go back in time and find newbie writer me, what are the 4 things I would say to her? Aside from like, don't go get a 10-month degree in aesthetics because you don't like feet. What are you thinking? Mistakes were made. Okay, so say I get hooked up with a time machine, I get in, I go back to, let's say, me when I was 22, 23, and I first started seriously trying to get published. The first thing I would do is go up and grab myself by the shoulders and go, you need to learn some friggin' patience. Because oh my god, I was so impatient. Honestly, I just wish someone had pulled me aside and said, hey kid, relax, this is gonna take a long time. I was so eager and excited as a new writer. All I could think about was seeing my book on the shelf and seeing my name on the front cover of my book. I had no idea the sheer amount of agony my level of impatience would put me through on my writing journey. I would drive myself crazy and drive myself to tears and frustration and self-doubt because I just didn't have any patience and I couldn't figure out why this wasn't happening for me. And the worst thing of all about that is that I ended up really rushing through projects instead of taking my time editing them and polishing them and making sure they were ready to be seen by human eyes. So I really ended up shooting myself in the foot because of that, and I probably slowed myself down. Some patience really would have been good. And this leads me straight to number 2. The second thing I would tell small writer Erin, if I could go back, is improve your craft. For me, it was just so easy to get caught up in daydreaming. I was on book tours and, oh look, I'm in the line to see my movie that is based on the book I wrote. I don't know why I was in line in my fantasies. Like, even in my fantasy, I don't get a front row seat. Jeez. I spent so much time daydreaming about what life as a published author would look like that I wasted a lot of time. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with daydreaming because it can be really super motivating, and I definitely still do it sometimes. But now I have a handle on myself and I know I can't just sit there and dream about it happening. I have to actually, you know, strive to make it happen. Initially, I spent so much time daydreaming that I kind of forgot to improve my craft or to concentrate on getting better at writing. And also the daydreaming really helped fuel me being overeager and rushing through things because I just wanted to get to the finish line, and ended up, again, hurting my craft. Or at least having my craft stall out because I wasn't striving to improve it. Acknowledging that you always need to improve your craft does 2 things. It makes you a better writer and it moves you towards your goals faster and more efficiently. And honestly, it refocuses your mind so you're not like me and obsessing over I want it now, which can be really frustrating. One of the top things I now combat my frustration with how slow the publishing process can be is throwing myself into improving my writing every single day. Number 3 is rediscovering the love. Again, I kind of wish somebody had pulled me aside and just said, hey, you could have all the dreams and goals you want, that's fine, but don't forget why you actually are doing this. If I could just send my past self something like over email or something, it would be the links to my Pinterest board. Weird, I know, but there's nothing quite like Pinterest for when I'm feeling down or I'm feeling bored about my project and I want to rekindle that spark of inspiration, that spark of love that started the process, that started me on a project and got me excited about it in the first place. Not my dreams of like walking in the red carpet or seeing my characters on TV. Those are all great, but just the joy and excitement of the actual writing process and seeing that world and those characters come to life on my page. Back then, I was so driven to publish that a lot of that joy ended up sizzling out for me, and that ended up really affecting the work in negative ways. So now if I find myself focusing on maybe the wrong things or my interest in the story is waning, I will try to go back and reconnect with what made me love it in the first place. Number 4 is something I just want to scream across the ages to young writer me, and it is, if you hate it, don't do it. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I got into my head that as a new writer, I needed to write short stories, but somehow I did. I must have read a magazine article or something, and that was how someone got published. They wrote short stories, and then they went on to publish longer ones, and then they published novels. And maybe that'll work for you, I don't know, but I sucked at short stories so badly, and I hated writing them, and yet for some reason I just kept slogging away because I thought that's what I had to do to get published with a novel eventually. And I don't mean if you hate editing, don't do it. That's not at all what I mean, because we all have to go back and polish our work. But there has to be some part of the process you love. There was no part of the process I loved about short stories. I hated thinking of them, I hated writing them, I hated editing them. I don't even read short stories. I don't know what I was thinking. If it doesn't suit you as a person or your style or what you love to write, please don't let anyone else talk you into doing something you hate. Even if that person is yourself, past Erin. Maybe people will tell you, don't write sci-fi, or contemporary is the only thing that's selling right now, or if you want to make a lot of money, write romance. But if it's not something you love, if it's something you don't even read, forget about it. A, you're gonna hate yourself and hate the manuscript and hate the person who suggested it to you, and B, it's probably gonna be awful. So these are all things that if I could go back in time, I would tell little tiny baby writer Erin when she first started writing and first started trying to get published. What about you guys? I'm sure you all have something too that you would have loved to say to your past self. Let me know what that is in the comments below. Don't forget, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sundays, the WordNerds have our live chat, and we would love to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.